Gabrielle Union was fired after exposing America's Got Talent's toxic culture. Before I get into the story, I just want to put out a disclaimer. Please do not send any hate to Gabrielle Union, America's Got Talent, or anyone else involved in this story. This video is simply meant to report on the news and give some insight on the situation. On November 23rd, entertainment writer B. Scott released an exclusive report about America's Got Talent firing actress Gabrielle Union as a judge. Sources told the writer, Gabrielle's contract was not renewed after being the #1 talent on the show, NBC, and network TV. She set the record for her golden buzzer. They only replaced the women and blacks at Simon's whim. She wouldn't walk away from the $12 million because she's busy. Based on weekly interactions on social media, by the time the AGT finale aired, Gabrielle was the #1 talent on network TV for 2019. Why not pick up someone's option in extreme success? Social media engagement is the new measuring stick for talent, and Simon isn't on social media. Julianne and Gabrielle were both way higher ranked, engaged than Hough. The idea the network wants to switch things up only applies to women and black folks. They added that AGT firing Gabrielle is merely a continuation of how they run the show. Let's just say they didn't start the problematic behavior in season 14. They were quite comfortable with it all by the time Gabrielle got there. On November 26th, Variety also released an exclusive report that detailed AGT's toxic culture and the difficulties Gabrielle faced. In one case, comedian Jay Leno appeared on the show and made an inappropriate joke about a painting of AGT executive producer Simon Cowell and his dogs. He said the dogs looked like something one would find on the menu at a Korean restaurant, reinforcing the stereotype that all Asians eat dog meat. Gabrielle urged producers to report the joke to NBC's Human Resources Department, which is the network that airs AGT. While an NBC executive was aware of what happened, they never raised the issue with HR. Instead, they cut the line from the episode. In another case, Gabrielle and other staffers expressed concerns over a white male performer crossing a line in portraying people of color. Variety reported the contestant's gimmick involved rapid costume changes inside a larger garment, while impersonating a multitude of famous singers. In one such quick change, the contestant emerged in the guise of Beyonce Knowles. His hands appeared as black, meant to be a character accent. Sources told Variety that the producers disagreed and said, "We'll take it out later." They also said Gabrielle and Julianne Hough, another judge who was fired at the same time as Gabrielle, were often given excessive notes on their physical appearance. 4 sources said that Gabrielle received a note half a dozen times saying her rotating hairstyles were too black for AGT's audience, though one source disputed the volume of notes and said there was only feedback about consistent hairstyles for both judges. As for Julianne, 2 sources said she received consistent criticism on hair, makeup, and wardrobe, which impacted her morale and led to tensions. In a statement to Variety, Julianne denied the allegation and said, "I had a wonderful time on America's Got Talent. I loved working with the cast, crew, and producers. I am happy to continue my working relationship with NBC." She also expressed excitement for 2 upcoming NBC shows she'll be featured in and said she's looking forward to what the future holds. Following Variety's report, several people took to Twitter to slam NBC. NBC seems to be a mess. First, we find out the news heads covered for Matt Lauer for years, and now this. The network, news and entertainment, needs a complete change in leadership. So NBC is and the protector of, and yet no one does anything about it. Anything that slimeball Simon Cowell produces, judges, owns is toxic. Gabrielle's husband and basketball star Dwayne Wade spoke up as well. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Over this past year, I've been approached by many people saying that my wife Gabrielle is the main reason they've started watching AGT, or that they love her insight and sincerity on the show. So when I got the news that my wife was being fired, my first question was obviously why? I am still waiting on a good answer to that question. But if anyone knows Gabrielle, or have heard of her, you know she's an advocate for our community and culture. As proud as I were of her being selected as a judge on AGT, I am even more proud of her standing up for what she stands for, and that's us. So cheers to you, Gabrielle, on not losing sight of the lessons we've talked about teaching our daughter, and for kicking while you were on that platform. #1 judge on one of the biggest shows in the world. Other major celebrities joined in and expressed their support for Gabrielle. Actress Ellen Pompeo tweeted, "It's unfortunate that NBC, the same network that protected disgusting men like Matt Lauer and punished women for speaking out or not putting up with it, has not changed their practices or culture. I support Gabrielle's commitment to speaking up to injustice. It takes courage. Singer Ariana Grande tweeted, "Be better, NBC. We're with you, Gabrielle." Actress Jamila Jamil, who stars in NBC show The Good Place, tweeted, "I am lucky to work with really good people at NBC, and am sad and angry to know this has been going on in that same network. I stand with Gabrielle all the way. They should bring her back with a big raise and remove Simon Cowell instead." Days later, entertainment and culture writer Joelle Monique tweeted about how to make a proper apology. A solid apology comes in 3 parts. 1. Sincerely admit wrongdoing directly to the offended party. 2. Be twice as loud correcting your mistake as you were making the mistake. 3. Lay out steps to correct your behavior in the future. Anything less is covering your own. While it's unclear if she was referring to Gabrielle's case, Gabrielle retweeted, this, and this! On December 1st, NBC sent a statement to Variety. "We remain committed to ensuring a respectful workplace for all employees and take very seriously any questions about workplace culture. We are working with Ms. Union through her representatives to hear more about her concerns, following which we will take whatever next steps may be appropriate." The Screen Actors Guild American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, America's largest labor union representing media professionals, said they're investigating Gabrielle's case. "We take issues of workplace health and safety very seriously. We immediately reached out to Ms. Union's representatives when these reports came to light. It is our practice to work closely with members who reach out to us and their representatives in instances like this, as that usually affords the best protection and best resolution for the affected member." On December 2nd, media personality and former AGT judge Howard Stern accused Simon of orchestrating Gabrielle's firing. "How is it that Simon Cowell has orchestrated this? He sets it up that the men stay, no matter how old they are, no matter how talentless they are. But what he manages to do on all his shows is he constantly replaces the hot chicks with hotter chicks and younger chicks, which is so obvious." On December 3rd, the talk co-host and former AGT judge Sharon Osbourne called the show a boys' club. "The boys take care of each other, and the women are not paid as much as the men." She added, "They brought Howie in. He got his own plane. I love Howie, and I don't begrudge anyone earning what they earn. But when my old has been there shooting the show, and I get an American Airlines ticket and he gets a private plane because I'm me and I'm not in the club, NBC can kiss my." On December 5th, Gabrielle tweeted about a recent meeting with NBC. "We had a lengthy 5-hour and what I thought to be productive meeting yesterday. I was able to, again, express my unfiltered truth. I led with transparency in my desire and hope for real change." After journalist Soledad O'Brien tweeted that Gabrielle was a hero and expressed her support, Gabrielle tweeted back, "Thank you. Support is everything. This is exhausting, anxiety-inducing, and at times frightening, but being able to speak truth to power feeds my soul. Thank you for inspiring us all, my friend." On December 16th, Gabrielle participated in a panel about female empowerment and inclusivity and alluded to her case. "Don't allow them to call you angry when someone else is called passionate. It's terrifying. There's a solid chance you'll lose your job. I speak from experience. Do your best because corporations want global dollars. Do your best to try to hold the door open and hold people responsible. Yeah, I'm asking you to do the impossible. I'm fully aware that job loss is on the table, but if you're not doing it, nobody is." That seems to be the end of the situation for now. So, what's the big issue? AGT has a long-standing history of getting called out for creating a toxic culture. When the news broke out, the public compared Gabrielle's situation to actor and former AGT host Nick Cannon. In 2017, he quit the show after hosting for 7 years. On February 13th, 2017, he wrote that producers threatened to fire him because of a comedy special that was only intended to bring communities closer together. Here are some parts from his post. "I find myself in a dark place, having to make a decision that I wish I didn't have to, but as a man, an artist, and a voice for my community, I will not be silenced, controlled, or treated like a piece of property. Not to get too detailed, but this isn't the first time executives have attempted to put me in my place for so-called unruly actions. I will not stand for it. My moral principles will easily walk away from the millions of dollars they hang over my head. It's never been about the money for me. What is difficult to walk away from is the fans, the people who love me on the show. This hurts tremendously. As of lately, I have even questioned if I want to even be a part of an industry who ultimately treats artists in this manner. Most of us don't realize that there are 6 major corporations that control 90% of media in America, and the amount of minority executives is dismal. With this being the case, true equality in our industry is impossible. There will always be a do-as-I-say mentality that mirrors society's perception of women and minorities, and only a few will stand up against it. In a Variety column, entertainment lawyer Daryl D. Miller wrote, "It should be no shock to anyone who works in the business that the same groups are underrepresented time and time again on the screen, in the writer's room, in the director's chair, and in the executive ranks of the studios, networks, and now the premium streaming services that have rapidly become the new kids on the block." He added, "In the long run, the companies that embrace diversity will gain the creative and financial advantage. One fix to this epidemic is more diverse executive leadership at the vice president levels and higher." According to a University of Southern California study, 1 in 5 board members, C-suite executives, and executive management team members at major entertainment distributors are women, and African Americans and other non-whites often serve as little more than token characters when they appear on screen at all. Representation in media matters because it plays a critical role in teaching the public about minorities and other groups. In Cracking the Color Code, Minorities in Media, historian and author Carlos Cortez wrote, "Minorities realize, supported by research, that the media influence not only how others view them, but even how they view themselves. Often, minorities are portrayed as villains or sidekicks instead of the heroes in movies. But one movie that portrays them in positive roles is Black Panther, the first ever Black superhero in mainstream comics. It became the 5th biggest earner in North American box office history, surpassing Star Wars: The Last Jedi and The Avengers." In an interview with Time, Gabrielle talked about the impact of the movie. "When I first started acting, I was always cast as the sassy, asexual Black best friend. My peers were shoved into similar, limiting boxes, as there weren't a lot of opportunities for actors of color. The available roles were oftentimes or woefully underdeveloped. I would read certain scripts and think, you can't be serious. But if you dared to speak up, you, not the source of the prejudice, would be the problem. Many writers' rooms were painfully white and male, and if you called out a joke, you would be accused of being overly sensitive. The message was clear. Shut up and thank your lucky stars that you have a job. People of color just weren't valued." Films like Black Panther, however, have demonstrated not only that people of color have immense talent, but also that they can be wildly successful at the box office. Other celebrities and the public were so moved by Black Panther that it became the most tweeted about movie in history. "Congrats to the entire Black Panther team. Because of you, young people will finally see superheroes that look like them on the big screen. I love this movie, and I know it will inspire people of all backgrounds to dig deep and find the courage to be heroes of their own stories." Seeing a whole film full of strong, powerful, educated people who look like me not being discriminated against or mocked. No hurtful stereotypes of blacks. It means so much to see an African kingdom that is decades ahead of the rest of the world in technology. To see a Black girl be the smartest person in the MCU. We don't get to see images like this a lot in popular media. Hashtag what Black Panther means to me. Can you imagine being a little brown child and seeing Black Panther only to find out that the creators look like you? That the director has the thickest Oakland accent ever? That the production was filled with Black people? Hashtag what Black Panther means to me. To see us in powerful roles. To know that we can be heroes. To see Black women doing the damn thing. To see Black mythology at work. To see a film celebrate our worth. Black Panther is truly giving us and the next generation something to smile about. Hashtag what Black Panther means to me. Overall, Gabrielle's concerns about AGT's cultural insensitivities shouldn't have been ignored, and she shouldn't have been asked to change the way she looks, especially when it diminishes her cultural identity. Producers hold the greatest power in shaping the workplace culture and should set a positive example. The decisions they make shape how minorities view themselves and the opportunities available for them. If we're going to make real progress in increasing diversity in the media, people need to see what they can be on screen and have the courage to lead in whichever career path they choose. What do you think about this story? Do you think it's unfair that Gabrielle was fired? Let me know in the comments below.